Tuesday, September 6, 2016. Welcome to today's edition of the Government News Brief. In the news, Lethem and Tabatinga housing scheme to be linked by a new bridge. Health services in Moruca Sub-District Region 1 to be boosted with transportation system. And students and teachers of the Brickdam Secondary School excited with the new school building and facilities. Stay tuned as we bring you the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Renetta LaFleur. Here now are the details. Several health facilities within the Moruca Sub-District in Region 1 will have a more efficient system of transporting patients to health institutions. Delicia Haynes has the details.
Community health workers in riverine communities in Moruca requested from the Ministry of Public Health boats and outboard engines to carry out sectoral duties, which includes the transportation of patients.
It was those villages that have a difficulty in getting patients down to this, the Camarca District Hospital, and particularly because those villages seems to be having birth rates alarmingly high. I mean, Manawarin, for instance, has got 15 pregnant mothers at this moment.
In addition to Manawarin, other villages such as Asakata, Waikribi and Quibana are to be considered for boats and engines.
These communities around the Camarca District Hospital, in a question of an hour or so they can get here, either by a vehicle or by boat. But in those areas in the Barama River, it's difficult for them to come because it's so far away. The river can be low, it can be very difficult to navigate, and basically that is the big problem of transportation towards. And they don't have hospitals, they have health hut with community health worker, they don't even have a midwife in some of the cases, and that is a big problem.
Meanwhile, Port Kaituma has recently benefited from the provision of a boat and engine which will assist in the transporting of patients in the rivers.
They're basically going to be used by the health personnel in Port Kaituma to give service to the riverine communities such as Canal Bank and the Sibai by taking the health personnel to the communities, and also it will be used to transport patients that needs to seek for the medical attention at probably the Port Kaituma Hospital or maybe referred eventually to the GPHC.
The provision of these boats and engines is in keeping with the Ministry of Public Health's aim of providing equitable health care delivery in all regions. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
Students and teachers of the Brickdam Secondary School are extremely happy with their new school building and facilities, even as they are settling in at the new location. Details in this report.
Head teacher of the Brickdam Secondary School, Chanjana Welcome Lee, says she is grateful for the efforts of the Minister of Education and other officials of the ministry.
I've only had 3 years of being at Lot 45 Brickdam in the cram building, and it was 3 really hard years. The children are very grateful. They deserve it. They deserve it because they've been doing very well under those circumstances, and I know that they will do far better with the comfort, the space, and the facilities.
Comparing the new school and facilities to what existed at the previous location, the head teacher says,
I feel safer. We have a fence, we have a gate, we can protect them. We have a canteen where they can eat. We have more washrooms area. The teachers have 2 staff rooms now, not just 1, 2. Spacious. The deputy has a good office. I have an office there that is spacious and more accommodating and comfortable with a washroom in the I don't have to go down. I share washroom with the students and teachers and so on. So I can go on and on about the benefits that we are going to gain from being here.
Meanwhile, parents Selwyn Prescott and Siobhan Holder had high expectations of the opportunities which may arise from the much improved building and facilities.
Well, I just did a tour of the building and the compound, and the building here is definitely a big improvement on what they had on Brickdam. Actually, I'm sorry that my daughter is coming out. She's on her way out of the school. She should have been coming in first form now to enjoy all of the facilities that are being offered here now.
I think the school can do well. Based on the results that I saw, she showed me from the last 4 or 5 years. From the CXC results, and I was quite impressed again with that. I thought that was good too. So with a better environment, I think the school should do a whole lot better. And I hope my kids can be participating in that, the betterment there.
The Brickdam Secondary School is now located at what was formerly the East La Penitence Primary School in Freeman Street, East La Penitence. The decision to relocate the school follows industrial action and protests by teachers and parents in 2015 about poor working conditions and deplorable classrooms and sanitary facilities. Kidaki Amsterdam for Government News Brief.
The township of Regina is going green as the Guyana Power and Light sets up solar panels in the community. Details in this report. The acting Chief Executive Officer, Guyana Power and Light, Renford Homer, says that the power company will be using renewable energy sources to generate electricity during the day in the Regina community.
That would see is the use of renewable resources in conjunction with the use of fossil fire generation. All right, and the expectation is to see the use of renewable sources during daylight hours, which would suggest that we are considering solar energy.
Homer explains that it is not economically sound for the power company to invest a significant amount of storage for electricity at night. Therefore, the company will move to fossil fuel generation to substitute at night.
There will be a huge savings in our fuel costs because we will not be using our engines during the day. All right, so what you will see over time is a penetration of renewables into the grid.
The aim is to promote an economic supply of energy in the community, which is currently receiving electricity from engines that are over 20 years old. Renewable energy sources provide increased system efficiency as well as greater balance in energy supply and are an integral part in Guyana's drive to achieving a green economy. Tenders for smaller eco-friendly engines are out and solar panels will be installed shortly. Renetta LaFleur for the Government News Brief. New $60 million bridge to link Lethem and the newly established Tabatinga housing scheme in Region 9. Details in this report.
With an increase in the population within the newly established community of Tabatinga, Region 9, a bridge will be constructed to allow for easier access of goods and services. Mayor of Lethem Town Carlton Beckel says that this new structure will seek to bridge the gap between Tabatinga and Lethem and ease traffic congestions.
The purpose of this bridge is that Tapachinga only have one major entrance, meaning there's only one legitimate entrance that vehicles can access Tapachinga. Now, on forward planning, you should have two entrances because let them be in developing a lot of vehicles. There will be years to come that you will have traffic jam, etc., etc. So you won't have one entrance to get out from Tapachinga. You will have another entrance here that you can go into Tapachinga, you can come out. So if you notice like what's going on the East Bank Road, if there were another road leading, you would not have that build-up of traffic. So we will visualize that in years to come, Lethem will have the same problem if you don't do forward planning. So this will be another legal and main entrance into the Tapachinga community.
The multi-million-dollar bridge is expected to be completed by year-end. Located in central Rupununi, Tabatinga was established and further developed by the Central Housing and Planning Authority in 2003. This community is home to over 1,000 people. Through government support, Tabatinga has benefited from major infrastructural development, including roads and electricity. Recently, the Guyana Water Inc. expanded the service with the refurbishing of elevated storage tanks within the community. The Regional Democratic Council has also opened tenders for the construction of a new nursery school and teachers' quarter in the community. Delon Sanko for the Government News Brief.
Guyana's chance of medaling at the 2020 Olympic Games in Japan will be enhanced with the establishment of a national sports database. Find out how in this report.
GY Direct, a networking company, will be responsible for the establishment of a database at the cost of $2.8 million. Director of Sports, Christopher Jones, explains.
In the database, we will identify, or in fact, we have already identified a few athletes, varying disciplines, that based on their associations and federation indication, they can medal in Olympics. So essentially, we are preparing them now for 2020 Tokyo Games.
The works include the development of an application for phones that will notify users in the vicinity where games will be played and the date.
That company would have outlined to us that they have the ability and the capacity to create such a database that we're talking about. And not only just a database, but a modern one that would speak to varying aspects.
The database also caters for athletes' health. Through a collaborative effort with the Ministry of Public Health, Jones says that should an athlete sustain a serious injury, the medical costs will be borne by the government. Jones adds that the database will not only feature information on athletes, but it would also have a Facebook page and website. The national database will also chronicle athletes of the past, feature who they are and their accomplishments. The first phase of works is expected to be concluded by the end of September 2016. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
Those are the reports we covered in today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website and Facebook page. Gina has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be updated as the news unfolds. All government and other information can be accessed from Gina's website and Facebook page. We encourage you to join us tomorrow again for another edition of the Government News Brief. Until then, thank you for watching.